Okay, hey everyone, this is BornToPun, bringing you a cast of the Starleague S2 finals, game one between Killer and Mind, and I'm really happy that with me here I have a co-caster, my first co-caster ever, and it's Lucas. So Lucas, welcome to the cast, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Born a Pun. Yeah, my name's Lucas. I'll be co-casting today with Born a Pun. I'm a avid Brood War fan, and I'm eager to get into some Brood War action here. We've got two great players. It looks like it's Mind, sorry, spawning at the top right location as the Red Terran.
And Killer is the yellow Zerg in the bottom right. Um, so this is a TVZ. I was always a Terran player myself, and it sounds like I think Lucas, you said that you were a Terran player too.
Yeah, that's right. I mainly played Terran.
Okay, Terran number one, right? Terran's obviously the best race.
Yeah, they're human, right?
Yeah, how can you not? How
They're
can you
only
not root for the
human.
humans? I always thought that TVZ was sort of the quintessential SE2 matchup. I mean, every matchup is interesting, every matchup is fun, but TVZ, maybe it's because Flash Jadong was like the rivalry, and it was the two best players in the game for so long, especially at the end of Brood War. Maybe that's why. But for some reason, I always thought of TVZ as being like, if I'm gonna show a friend one matchup to get him interested in Brood War, I'm gonna show him a TVZ. I don't know
Oh
how do you
yeah.
feel about that.
Oh, definitely. It's as you said, like the quintessential. I'd say it's like the main StarCraft matchup. I mean, it's like Space Marines and aliens. I mean, that's what it is, and it's a matchup that allows for lots of interesting play. You get drop action here and there. You get lurker contains. You get a lot of exciting stuff happening, and it looks like. Guess I should be looking at these openings. Killer plopping down a quick hatchery, probably a 12 hatch, I believe, and Mine putting down his command center.
CC first, yeah, bringing out those SCVs to guard against the offensive drone there. Actually, do you know what map we're playing on here? I should have looked that up.
Oh, let me check. I don't know, unfortunately. Should have noted that too.
No worries. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty macro-oriented game with both players expanding early.
I think so, and Killer has opted to put down his third hatchery inside his main base. So I guess this is sort of in response to the 14cc. 14cc, of course, very, very strong economical opening for the Terran player, and I guess you have two options at the Zerg. You can try to punish it with a bunch of Zerglings, or you could try to opt for strengthening your economy, and that seems like what Killer has opted to do here.
Yeah, once the Terran throws down that 14cc, you know there's not going to be any aggression for a long time. So you might as well just throw down another hatch of your own. I think that I remember, and my game knowledge it's not what it used to be, and even what it used to be was certainly not anything to brag about. But I thought that I remember that sometimes Zergs would actually put down their third hatch at a third expansion, and they would actually take three expansions right off the bat. I could be misremembering that.
No, you're quite right. Zergs often do put down their third hatchery in one of the other corner spawning locations of the map. So in this case, it would probably be the expansion that Killer is probably looking next to take would be the bottom left location, and he's gone a bit safer here with the hatchery in the main base, and that's probably a smart move because it can be really difficult to hold the third base at the bottom left if you don't get lurkers really quickly and get them in time to hold off the Terran onslaught.
So how come it's standard to take your third base so far away then? Is that just a way to make the Terran split his army and attack? I don't know what is the reason for
Yeah,
that?
so I think it's you're kind of when you're doing that you're doing it with a view to the late game. So generally in ZVT, which is what we have here, the Zerg puts down their hatchery in the main location of the bottom of the starting location, so right inside the main. Whereas in ZVP, you would have the hatchery going down in the natural because. And the reason for that difference is that it's easier as the game progresses to hold those bases. In the ZVP situation, you can build up your SimCity faster, and in the ZVT situation, you can put lurkers on top of the ramp. So as soon as you get lurkers up, you can start to hold off that main base at the bottom left pretty quickly. But right now we see a lot of Marines coming down, and Killer's morphing in some Sunkens. I think he's going to have enough to stop this.
I think so. I think he'll hold. Is Stim finishing right now? Is that what he's waiting for here?
I think that's might be it, yeah. Although he might just be sending these Marines out to force the Sunkens and get Killer to waste some of his resources.
I think so. I think it was just some good posturing, and it worked, right? He forced out some Sunkens. That's not an insignificant investment, especially early on. Like, the Zerg would rather use that money for tech or more drones, probably.
Absolutely.
Rather than using him for these Sunkens, which are pretty much going to be worthless for the next few minutes, unless. Well, although now that I say that, he's actually messing up quite a force. He may be serious about this now.
He's really rallying down here with his Marines, and this is going to force Killer to put even more Sunkens up, and we'll see if he goes soon. Probably waiting for Stim.
Yeah, if Stim comes up, he could. I think he has a little bit of a window there, but it looks like he's going to back off now. He might just be trying to catch those lings that he knows are out in the map, waiting to pincer him.
Yeah, but it does kind of look like Mind is going to be content to just back off here.
Yeah.
Mutas have popped. Killer doing a good job picking off a stray Marine.
Yeah, this first mute has really changed the dynamic of the game. I think it is pretty standard for Terran players to bring their Marines back, because if you leave them out in the middle of the map, you run the risk of them just getting picked apart. But now a lot of the mutas are taking damage. He hasn't killed. Oh, there's a little pop up. He's getting a couple Marines here and there. He's getting a couple SCVs, and he's doing some decent damage with these.
Yeah, good muta micro here from Killer. Really getting him, really kind of posturing his Mutalisk in the top right location where he can't get a good surround or a good flank on them with the Marines, and now he's going to be ushered out with the Marines that have caught up. But good job here by Killer, forcing Mind to stay inside his base as he takes the bottom left location that I was talking about earlier, and now he gains map presence and map control of his lings and mutas across the map.
And that can be such a frustrating thing to do as a Terran player, is defend against good muta micro, because good muta players, they'll use your SimCity against you, and you saw how he had the mutas in the very top right, and the only way the Marines could get in there was going single file one at a time and just dying, and you need like that critical mass of Marines. One Marine at a time against mutas is just going to die.
Definitely, yeah. Killer really making use of Mind's own building placement and kind of turning that against him. But now Mind has built up the critical amount of Marines where he feels confident enough to be able to move out on the map with this force while still having sufficient forces at home to defend his own base. And Killer spots this, so he's going to bring his mutas and lings back to, maybe we might see a flank here.
Yeah, if he gets a good surround with those lings and brings in the mutas at the right time, he could wipe out this force. But even a small misstep, and he would lose all of his lings if the mutas aren't there to do the DPS.
Yeah, definitely. You really want to engage with the Zerglings and the mutas there, and any kind of small misclick can mean, lots of mutas going down. There's one muta that gets picked off by the Marines and turrets.
Yeah, getting him softened up. So I think right now what he's really trying to do is he's trying to use these mutas and links just to keep the Terran on the Terran side of the map, while he takes more bases, macros up, and goes into Hive Tech.
That's right. We saw the Hive come up there. So that means Defilers are probably on the way here. And if the Terran can't attack the Zerg before the Defilers are out, I mean that's really what Killer's trying to to accomplish here. He wants to swarm out. The flow of the game just changes so dramatically once the Dark Swarm is out with the Defilers, and now Knight is coming up here too to establish a link between those very far bases.
And I'm sorry, my windows are sort of blocking my YouTube, my mini map, so and I don't want to change it because I don't want to mess up the capture. But is Killer still on 3 bases here?
Yeah, he's still on 3 bases. He has not taken the natural at the bottom left yet.
Okay.
And these Marines are barreling down on that base, so he's gonna need to bring over a lot of units to defend this if he wants to defend his third base here. Muta's taking some pot shots at the Marines. That's just to buy some time, though.
He's buying time, and he's also softening him up quite a bit. If those medics don't heal him up, then those Lings are going to tear through. Lings do a lot of DPS in Brood War. And here it goes. He's moving in with the Marines. He takes out a couple drones, but I think he's going to lose his entire force, just to mostly the Lings.
Yeah, that's a lot of Lings. Killer producing a large swell of Lings, and I don't think mine was really expecting to be met with that much opposition. So good hold here by Killer. He didn't lose too much in that engagement, and he's looking to take a really strong place into the late game here now.
Yeah, we saw the first couple Science Vessels coming out, and we also saw the Ultralisk Cavern is already been completed. So both players are now moving into their late game tech. An Irradiate there, a really nice split. If you don't split that Irradiate quickly, it can do a lot of damage to your Mutaswarm, so that was a really nice play. And now that he's got the Science Vessels, it looks like he's not phased by losing that first force. He wants to come here with a bigger one and Science Vessels and try it again.
Yeah, and I probably should have mentioned this before, but Killer is going crazy Zerg in this game. He's skipped Lurkers, and he's just gone straight to Hive Tech, and I think it's going to work out for him in this game because mine wasn't able to do damage. The Ultralisks now coming in, along with the Mutalisks and Zerglings, and this is going to be enough to hold mine back.
I think so, and he loses both the vessels there. It looks like that's a big. Oh no, he has one still. That's a pretty big loss though. Those Science Vessels are really costly, and they're also really important. Irradiating Ultras, irradiating Mutas. That's all really that's a lot of your DPS in late game.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, if you don't know what Crazy Zerg is, it's kind of a really or greedy Zerg opening where you kind of skip the mid-game Lurker transition and you just rush straight to Hive Tech, and it's really paid off for Killer here as he has a bunch of Ultralisks now that are going to soak up so much of these Marine damage.
Yeah.
He's just mine just probably. I don't think he has enough to really break this at this point. He's going to need to wait for his siege tanks to get up.
I think you're right. And I don't want to put you on the spot here, but if I can ask, at what point in this game do you think he decided to go for that crazy Zerg style? Was it right from the beginning, or did something happen during the game that made him think, okay, this is the strategy that I can now do?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I really don't know. I mean, looking at this from Killer's perspective, I'm not sure if there's anything that would have tipped him off to thinking that mine wouldn't have enough to punish him. I mean, he was certainly posturing on the map with Marines really quickly, so it might have just been a gamble that Killer took, and I think it paid off here. And he's no Dark Swarm yet, so this is just Ultralisks, and Ultralisks by themselves really don't have a lot of damage output. They soak a lot of these shots up, but he's going to need something else.
Yeah, where are the Lings? He has no Zerglings here. And here they come now. They come streaming out of the Nidus Canal, but one at a time, and after most of the Ultralisks are dead, the Lings are just going to die to the Marines, and he's going to lose his base now.
Yeah, Killer's going to need to pump a lot more through that Nidus. 2 more Ultralisks come out just in the brink of time to fend this away, but it's not enough. It looks like there's just too many Marines right now. But as I say that, 2 more Ultralisks might just be enough to hold this back. Mine's rallying more Marines down to the bottom left, but Killer also has a stream of Zerglings to meet that up. And there just barely might be enough here from mine to take this base down.
Yeah, did Killer's Nidus get sniped? Yeah, it looks like he's rebuilding it now, so that's why he's walking those Lings and Ultras across, making them walk the long way. So they're going to be tired when they get there, but those Science Vessels, they're just sitting out at the top of the base, and they're radiating Ultras as they come in, so they're already weakened up, and any Lings that go near that Ultra, they're going to take damage too. That's a really powerful spell.
Yeah, so it looks like mine's relentless aggression here has really paid off. It certainly seemed like Killer had enough to hold there, but just producing off those two bases, that Terran is too strong, man.
So strong. Yeah, he got Killer got that really good first engage against the first Marine medic force, but after that, it was pretty good vessel micro. He only lost maybe one or two vessels. Getting good irradiates off, and I thought that his medic Marine positioning was actually really good. The Ultras having to run around, sometimes kind of dodge through medics in order to get to the Marines, and the Marines just firing the whole time. And
Yeah, that's such a good move because you have to manually target the medics if they're in front. Like the Ultralisk won't attack them, and or you have to go around as you said, and now we see an engagement in the middle of the map. The Zerg force is just eating up these stray Marines here. But I think Killer, he's got to figure out something to do. He's got his Hive Tech up, he's got Ultralisks, but he's sitting on two bases, and that's not where you want to be as a Zerg going into the late game. I think he might be thinking of taking either the 6 o'clock or the his mineral only third here.
yeah, frankly, I think he's in trouble, and I think he's kind of got to back up against the wall. He's got the Ultra Tech, but Ultras in small numbers, especially against 4 Science Vessels, they're all just going to get irradiated, and they can't do anything. And there's the
There it
GG.
is. Yeah, GG. Killer knows that he doesn't have enough to deal with the mass forces by mind, and there's the GG. Yeah, when you don't have enough forces to hold off the Terran onslaught to protect your third base, and you're down to equal bases with the Terran into the late game, it's just not a good time for you.
Yeah, and I think the tipping point in that battle was when he had those 4 Ultras without any Link support, just fighting against those Marines, and he killed a handful of Marines, but he lost 3 or 4 Ultras. And when you're going crazy, Zerg, that's your investment. That's the total backbone of your army. And when you lose that, and now you're making Ultras 1 or 2 at a time with a couple Lings, Marines and Medic with any vessel support, they're just going to tear through that, and that's what happens.
That's right. With as you mentioned, the 4 or 5 cloud of vessels is just too much. When you match, when your number of vessels kind of matches the opponent's Ultralisks, and you can just irradiate constantly, and there's really not much you can do at that point.
Yeah. Well, that was a really fun game. Something that we should have said at the beginning of this cast that I forgot to say, so I'll say it now, is that actually tonight, Lucas and I are going to be live casting the special is it Kang Do?
Kong Do, I think.
The Kong Do special matches, which are going to be between Bisu, C, Killer, and Pusan. So at least one of each race, every race represented. It's going to be some great games between, I think, what are sort of the best players in their respective races right now in the Brood War scene. Would you agree with that?
I would certainly agree with that. We've got the top Terran, the top Protoss, and the top Zerg, so should really make up for a night of really fun matches and definitely high level, the highest level Brood War that you can really ask for.
Yeah. So tune in. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern time, and that'll be on. We're going to be on Twitch TV /BornToPun. So tune in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this game. And if you like it, let us know, and we would probably think about doing the rest of this series or even some other games. So this is BornToPun and Lukas signing off.